All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am excited to be here today with Mindy Botkin. We're going to get into full introductions here in just a moment. But the reason we're here today is because Mindy and her horse Louie just had a phenomenal year. We're going to talk about some of the things that they won. And we thought that by asking her some questions, interviewing her, having her walk through this with us, that we could give you the inside look at what it takes to show horses. This is on the Western side. What she's been through in her horse career that's led her to where she is today, and might give you some idea on what you would like to do with your Western show career. So, Mindy, are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, let's first off, I'm going to brag on you a little bit, girl. Okay. Because this year, my goodness, has been phenomenal for you and your beautiful horse, Louie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here's just a couple of the things. So tell me if I get it wrong, Mindy, because this is a lot. In the National Open Horse Association, you were the Western Walk Trot High Point or champion, English Walk Trot High Point or champion, showmanship High Point, and then adult overall High Point.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was a great year.
Okay. And then, so you did this on a national level. The National Open Horse Association has national shows, and you're also a member of one of our local shows, which is Mid River Saddle Club, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you competed both locally and nationally same year.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So some of you out there may be going, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And it is. Mindy has an amazing career. If you ever get to see this lady ride, she is the picture of beauty and quiet and calm and grace when she's on a horse. Whether she's riding Western or English, it is beauty in motion to watch her and whatever horse she's riding, because she's just that skilled. So I'm just going to continue to make you blush, okay?
Yes, I am. I'm definitely blushing.
Okay. All right. So let's backtrack just a little bit. Mindy, just give us the long and short of your horse career.
Oh, goodness. When people ask me how long I've been riding, I love to tell them that I've been riding since before I was born because my mom rode while she was pregnant. So
Okay, so you
I was
come by it
very,
naturally.
yeah. I was the blessed horse girl because I had horse parents. They both showed horses and had horses, and so I grew up with horses. Um, I didn't get my first horse until I was a teenager. I'd been begging for years, and my parents said, "You have to buy your first horse." Um, and so I had to save up all my pennies. And so I was 13 when I got my first horse, and that's when I started showing. And then over the years, I just, I would do everything possible I could with that horse. And then I would find a good home, another show home for that horse. And then I would take that money and move on to the next horse. So my first horse was $600. And I just worked my way up from there, trying to sell each horse for more than, and then I paid for them, and they had a show career when I sold them. And so I just kind of worked my way up from there. So,
I love
uh,
it. Okay. Let's talk about that for just a moment, because you brought up a couple things here that I think is really worth spending a moment on. So, first of all, now this was a few days ago that you were 13, like it wasn't yesterday. So that $600 horse then is a little bit more now. But the point is, you don't have to go out and spend tens of thousands to get a
Mhm.
horse that you can start showing, especially at a local level, right?
Correct. The gray mare that I showed for several years, she was a Congress champion and a Congress high point, and we paid $1,000 for her. We found her in
Okay.
someone's backyard. She was a 4-H project. She had zero champion bloodlines. Any well-known bloodlines on her papers were 4 generations back. And so those diamonds in the rough are out there. You just got to look for them.
Okay, so did you know when you bought her? Like, did you know that this was going to turn into a Congress champion, or were you
Oh.
pleasantly surprised?
Um, I wanted a project and we were pleasantly surprised. I mean, we saw the talent. She would trot around the round pen and she floated. She had beautiful movement and she was quiet. This was a little 2-year old and we were throwing tarps on her and she didn't care. And so with the personality and her movement, we were like, let's just see where we can go. And so we started at local shows. Then we moved up to the registered paint shows. And then we were like, let's go to Congress. So
Why not? Okay, so again, the lesson is you don't have to start with a gajillion-dollar horse. You
correct.
can find one, you can get lucky. It takes a moment to know what you're looking for, to be able to say, I saw it in them when they were that young, or right. But again, start somewhere is the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that you said is, and we might ruffle some feathers with this, is you worked the horse, you showed the horse, and then you found a great show home for that horse so you could move up to another horse.
Yes.
Right
Um,
now, you
yeah.
you love your horses.
Yes.
Okay. So that it's not that you don't love the horses.
Hmm.
It's that you have a goal. So tell us a little bit about that
Um,
process.
I absolutely love showing horses. And I get it from my father. I'm very competitive. And I like, once I've taken a horse to its fullest potential, I like to move that horse on to someone else. You have a lot of beginners and youth out there that need a solid horse to learn on. So I know it ruffles feathers when people are like, oh, that horse, you had such a bond and a connection with that horse, and that horse took you so far, and then you just sold it. And I've always tried to find good homes for my horses, but you have to remember that if you don't take those really nice solid horses and sell them, then your beginners and your kids do not have those saint level horses to learn on.
Well,
So,
that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it that way. Like you're keeping the next generation going with
mhm,
these step down, step up horses, right?
correct.
And
Yeah.
and frankly, if you're moving on to the next level and you've taken this horse as far as you can go, this show horse does not want to sit in the pasture. They
Right.
love to show,
Yes.
right?
They usually love their job. So,
Right. So they want to, sad as it is that we're going to part company after being together for a while, it's the lovingest thing we can do in some cases is to find them the next great partner for them.
mhm,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so we're just going to breathe deep, everybody. When you have a goal that you want to keep moving up in the show world, sometimes it's not one horse that takes you all the way to where you want to go, and you're going to have to move through some horses. So you either have your own property where you can keep them all,
Right.
right? Hoard the horses, or you do your best to find the right show home to put them in afterwards.
Mm.
Okay. 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 So local shows. Now, tell us the classes, like describe the classes that you show in, and how did you figure out that, well, these are the classes I would like to show in?
I grew up in a home with quarter horses and paints. So I've always loved the Western style horse. So I always kind of knew what I wanted to get into. Showmanship is by far my favorite. It's an in hand pattern class. And I laugh because a lot of people do not like showmanship and they only do it because it's a part of the High Point Award. But I love showmanship. It's the closest, in my opinion, to dancing with a horse because you're together and you're both moving. So I love showmanship. We do a lot of pattern classes. I love the patterns. So hunt seat equitation and Western horsemanship are a ridden pattern that usually include a lot of transitions, pivots, backing, change of direction, change of speed, and you're judged on how well you execute all of that. One of my favorites is trail. You have a course of 6 to 12 obstacles, and you're judged on how well you do those obstacles. And there are penalties that come along with if you make mistakes. Um, Trail is super challenging, and so I really love doing trail. And then we also do a little ranch. Ranch is really fun as well. So
And when you say ranch, are you working cattle in the ranch divisions, or what does that look like?
Unfortunately, I've never really had access to cattle. I've
Okay.
gone to some clinics where we've worked cattle, but I've never really shown with cattle because I don't have the opportunity to regularly work with them. So we do like ranch trail, ranch riding. More pattern classes, but more suited for a horse that's working a ranch.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So you let's just start here. You go to a local show like Mid Rivers.
Mhm.
How many different classes do you enter? Like this sounds like a lot to know. Like for some of us, it's hard to just enter one class and get that one class done well. You're entering like this is a lot of different things.
Yes, I get teased a lot at how much stuff I bring to the horse shows because I literally have 4 sets of clothing and 4 sets of tack. So halter and showmanship have 1 set, and then English, Western, and then ranch. So yeah, it's a lot. I think I do with Mid Rivers. I usually do like 13 classes on Saturday and about 10ish on Sunday.
Oh,
So
okay. You're really making the most of your shows.
yes.
So is that typical? Do most people participate in that many different types of things, or are they
um,
choosing just a few of them?
Some people just choose a few of them. Some only show ranch. Some only
Okay.
show the Western that has all the silver and the crystal outfits that are very blingy. Some people show only English. I love it all. I mean, when it comes to horses, I love it all. So I really enjoy doing it all. So it just kind of depends on who you are and what you like. I also was going for those high point awards with the National Open Horse Show Association. So I showed multiple divisions. Some people choose only to do one division. So just kind of, again, depends on what you and your horse want and are good at.
So this was a strategy for you in terms of
Yes.
going for the high point. And I'm just trying to imagine our audience out there. If we've got somebody who's just beginning to show, maybe they don't know if they like trail riding or hunt seat equitation or whatever. So what I kind of am thinking in my head is, okay, the local shows allow them to try quite a few different things
Yes.
and then kind of nail down, okay, this is what I like and this is what the horse seems adept at,
Mm.
to try to like, okay, well, now we're going to focus in on those. And then the better you become when you've got as many years in as Mindy does, we can do all of them, right? Listen, I
Definitely.
just don't know how you switch between English and Western so easily. Like I watched you years
Oh.
ago at Sugar Creek Ranch in the arena. One day you'd have Western tack on, the next day you'd have English tack on, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, and I'm taking English lessons now, and it's so like I bring all my Western habits to my English riding, and my
Oh.
my instructor is like, Robin, stop it.
Yeah, I have a pretty regimented schedule. And so it's usually every other day I do English and then I do Western and then I do English and then I do Western. And I do showmanship for 5 to 10 minutes almost every ride. So,
Okay. And the showmanship again is you're not on the horse, you're off the horse. It's you're
mhm,
leading the horse. You're working through patterns and movement and the partnership of it,
mhm,
right? Okay.
right, right.
Okay. So that leads me into okay. Let's just say the local level, not the national level for a moment, right? If you were just showing at Mid Rivers and not worried about the Open Horse Show Association. Um, how much would you be riding? Like what makes sense for your workout plan to be prepared for that show?
Um, Goodness, that's a hard question because again, I think that very much depends on how seasoned your horse is. If you go out and you buy a horse that has been there, done that, you're probably not going to have to ride as much. But when you're teaching them, I bought Louis as a 4 year old. He was broke, but he needed a lot of finessing on how to be a show horse. And so I was like, okay, we're starting with English, and we focused on English for a long time. And then I started adding showmanship. And then once he got really good at those, then I started adding Western. So, how many times you ride a week, how long you ride, that very much depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I'm definitely a less is more. I don't want to override my horse. I don't want to overschool them and burn them out. Um, so, you have to be kind of careful about not repeating the same things all the time and things like that. But I think it also depends on how successful you want to be. Like I mentioned, I'm very competitive. So I'm at the barn almost every day. So doing
Well,
something.
yeah, so I know,
So
like it totally depends. Like there are folks out there who could ride a couple times a week, go to the fun
mhm,
show, have an absolutely blast of a time,
right.
and that's it. That's like how they want to approach it, right? Um,
Exactly.
you're at the barn almost every day. So for the to win High Point in a national level, you were riding almost every day.
Yeah, five to 6 days a week
Okay.
for sure.
And how long are your typical workouts?
Um, And they're usually about an hour, to be honest. I'm very big on the 10-minute walk warm up to make sure all the joints are warmed up and we kind of get our mind where it needs to be. So we walk for 10 minutes and we also cool out for 10 minutes. So the actual work part is probably about 40 minutes. And there's
Okay.
lots of stretchy walk breaks in there as well. And so I come in, I usually have a plan. I come in knowing exactly what I want to work on that day. I remember, okay, the last time I rode this, we were doing this incorrectly. We were missing this. We were dropping a shoulder. We were diving into this turn. We were hitting this pole. And I come back with a plan of how I'm going to work on that skill. And so my rides are very focused so that I don't end up out there for an hour and a half or 2 hours drilling my horse.
All right. I love it. So just like if we were to go to the gym, today would be
Hmm.
leg day, it'd be,
Yep.
upper body day, whatever. So you have your plan for your hour workout. Okay. And so about 40 minutes of harder riding.
Hmm.
I'll say that, right? And then does the 10-minute cool down include what you talked about with the showmanship where you do in hand? Or
Yes.
okay.
Yep. Hmm.
That's a good double whammy. Like instead of
Oh,
just
yes.
cooling the horse down, make it
Hmm.
productive,
Yes.
right?
Maximize your time.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so let me ask you just specifically, like you mentioned, and I just want to give folks a peek into specifics you do while you're working out. Like you just said, hey, if Louis was dropping his shoulder, what would you do to work on that?
So I would be doing figure eights and serpentines, opportunities for change of bend so that he's not dropping his shoulder. I would put cones out in different configurations and make him turn around those and practice keeping that shoulder up as he's coming through the turn. So I'll create my own drills. I'll be like, okay, I need to practice this transition. So we're going to jog down the rail, then we're going to extend the trot, then we're going to walk, then we're going to halt, and then we're going to repeat. So I like also, things I can repeat a few times. And so,
if I'm not as skilled as you, not as experienced as you, and I find, well, I think my horse is dropping their shoulder. It could be anything. I'm just using this as an example, right?
Hmm.
Um, so the best thing for me to do is not just to go ride and see, for an hour or two and try to keep the shoulder up. It's maybe I'm going to do some research, talk to a trainer
Yes.
friend, figure out, well, what are exercises I can do that will counteract that issue,
Mhm.
whatever it is that I'm having, and then spend my 30 minutes or whatever working on that on my next ride.
There is a definite advantage now with YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook Reels. Back when I was learning to ride and show, I had magazines and I had books that you could buy at the bookstore. You did not have the wealth of knowledge that you have now. So definitely do the research, Google it, and definitely look for reputable trainers. Don't just take advice from anybody that can post a TikTok video or a YouTube video. So definitely look for those professionals there's so much out there that's free. And I'm also really big at horse shows. I'm kind of the silent stalker on the rail. I listen to all the trainers when they are coaching. I am trying to pick up everything I can. I watch them ride in the warm up pen. I'm like, oh, they lifted this rein at this moment when the horse did, So um, I try to absorb as much information as I can for free because I'm just a teacher, and so I don't have an unlimited income. I've never been able to afford to keep a horse with a trainer full time. But there's just so much out there to learn from if you really want to be very focused in your rides.
I love that. I think a lot of times when we start to show, I don't know why it is, but we're interested about ourselves getting in and out of the ring, and we lose out on the opportunity to
Mhm.
just listen in. I love that you were saying stalking others, because basically you're getting free lessons all day long, just
Mhm.
listening and hearing and observing, right?
Mhm.
If you were to give a couple, three pros that if for our audience to say, like, hey, if you really want to follow somebody, here's a couple people to put on the list to go check them out because they do some good work, who would that be?
Oh gosh. um, can I answer that question later, Robin?
Yeah,
I know
think
I'm
about it.
like
Sorry,
off the
put you on
top
the
of my
spot.
head. I'm like, I
Okay,
mean, I can
well,
tell you like right away trainers that I watch at the shows. But like, you know, a lot of the stuff that I find online just randomly comes up. Um, One of the biggest recommendations I would make is AQHA posts videos all the time where a judge will evaluate a video from a show like the world show, and they will tell you where that person was plussing and minusing and what they might have done better. And so there I watch a lot of the AQHA videos that are out there.
I did not know. That's gold right there.
Oh
And the reason
yes.
I ask you about specific people, like, this is perfect because it's an AQHA judge,
Hmm.
who's going to be, like, every judge is a little bit different. They all have their specific things they like and dislike. But man, when you can watch a judge watching a video and they're explaining exactly what's going on,
Hmm.
amazing, right?
Yes.
And if you think of any specific folks along the way, let us know, because I
Okay.
know there's a ton of, you know, couch cowboys out there that don't have a background, and maybe they have some influence on socials, and they sound right, but I may not be able to discern who's really good and who I
Hmm.
shouldn't pay attention to. So that's why I asked. So if you can think of a couple names, we'll,
Okay.
just shout them out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're starting to see, depending upon the level of training of our horse, and the level at which we want to show at, we could be anywhere from just a couple days a week riding to,
Mhm.
6 days a week, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, you told me that to have these amazing accomplishments this year, it took you 14 shows.
Yes.
Okay. And some of those were local ones here with Mid Rivers.
hmm
And
hmm
then tell us about some of the other ones that you went to out of the area.
Okay. We show with another group that shows out of Sedalia with the Missouri State Fairgrounds. That's a K-Singer horse show circuit. So we traveled to Sedalia a lot. And we also went to some shows in Cloverdale, Indiana, that were somewhat affiliated with NOSA, the National Open Horse Show Association, and that was primarily where we showed. Mid Rivers had 5 shows, and we did 2 in Indiana, and there are some other local groups that host great shows as well. So there's Midmo Saddle Club, Jefferson County Trail Riders. There's a group right across the river in DuQuoin, Illinois, the Southern Illinois Equine Group. They have great shows. So we are very fortunate that we have a lot of great show circuits in Missouri.
Okay, I love it. So if you're listening to us, this is a point to maybe stop and rewind and go back if you're trying to figure out shows to hit. You just named like 5 of them that are fairly close, right? And I've
Mhm.
also seen you up at William Woods.
Oh yes, that's one of my favorites. Yes, every April it's on my calendar.
Okay, yeah, William Woods has they have English shows and they have Western shows, so that's exciting. Okay,
Mhm.
so you don't have to travel very far. That helps keep costs down,
Yes,
right?
definitely, definitely.
I love it. Um, Give us an idea when you do go to a horse show. It's multiple days. Is it 2 or 3 days?
Again, it depends on the level of showing that you want to do. We have several shows in the Missouri area, like St. Clair Saddle Club, Midmo, Jefferson County Trail Riders, where you haul in, you tie your horse to the trailer for the day, and at the end of the day, you go home. Gateway is another one. If you love ranch, definitely check out Gateway. So those are just a one day. You haul there, you tie your horse to the trailer. Mid River Saddle Club is a weekend show. So, we have stalls there at the National Equestrian Center, like St. Louis. Same with Southern Illinois Group in DuQuoin. It's all weekend. They have stalls. So just kind of depends on how much you're wanting to spend and how kind of what level you're wanting to show at.
Awesome. So we can just enter this thing getting away with a 1 day local show,
Huh?
pretty low barrier to entry, if you would.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And
Um,
inexpensive. You don't have to have the fancy clothes and the fancy tack. It's really all about your skill and your connection with the horse, and then you work your way up.
okay. So if I'm going to a local show, like a Jefferson County Trail Riders or something, I don't have to go spend a lot on the really blingy outfit, matching saddle pad and stuff like that. Like what is kind of the dress code? Like what do I need to know?
You definitely can, but you don't have to. You'll see
Okay.
nice, suit jackets with showmanship pants for showmanship and halter. You'll see a hunt coat and breeches for English. Some people may have chaps for the Western classes. They may not. They may just have a $20 button down shirt from Amazon. Um, you know, when Louis and I were reserve world champion at NOSA in showmanship, I literally had a $35 jacket from Target.
No way.
Yeah, and a $20 shirt from Amazon under it with a scarf, and just black pants that I bought at a store. So a lot of people have this idea, well, I can't show because I can't afford those outfits. It just needs to fit well. It needs to be crisp and clean. It needs to be ironed and clean. And it's about showing. If you
Okay.
do your homework and it shows in your skill and your connection with your horse, it's not going to matter whether you have $1,000 jacket or a $35 jacket from Target.
Love this. Okay, so we can get all blinged out if we want,
Uh-huh.
but we don't have to be afraid of this. Like there are ways to enter this nominally, with just a handful of bucks, to get started.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm presuming that the shows post rules, dress codes, that kind of thing, so we
Mhm.
know, what we got to do.
Yeah, most shows have a website, or that information is on their show bill, and so their rules and kind of what their expectations are will be either on their website or their show bill.
Okay, I love it. And my experience with shows and show directors is they want you to come to their shows.
Oh
They want
yes.
you to have a good time. So they're completely, perfectly okay with answering questions. Send them
Yeah.
a message. Yeah. See somebody who's a member and send them a message. Ask them the details. Like, don't be shy. We want you in there. We want you to show with
Mhm.
us. Right.
Yes. And I highly
Okay.
recommend if you're considering showing and you have a club in mind, go watch a show and talk to people. Most people love to talk about their horse and what they're doing with their horse. And I have people that will approach me at horse shows and ask questions, and I'm always happy to answer anybody's questions because I want to see more people in the equestrian industry. So, if you're considering showing, go check it out. Go sit in the stands and watch and walk around and talk to people. They'll be happy to chat with you.
Of course, they will. They will. And we, like, Golden Horseshoe is sensitive to the price points because we know how expensive showing can be. We've
Yes.
got a couple different lines of ladies' Western show type shirts starting at about $50.
Mhm.
We've got a build your own custom shirt that's coming in that'll be probably 150-ish dollars if you want to step it
Nice.
up. Cowboy hats starting at about $70 with different colors. So again, we're going to help you get into it modestly. So,
Mhm.
okay, so on the clothing and the tack and that kind of stuff, we can get into it maybe less than we thought. How much, like if we're going to that one day show, what are we going to spend in entry fees for that?
You're probably, and again, it depends on how many classes you enter, but you're probably at $100 or less. And there's usually a gate fee. They have a jump out fee for you to tie at your trailer, and then your classes could be anywhere from $5 to $15 a class. So you can usually leave a 1 day show in the $100 range.
Perfect. And then, like Mid Rivers, they're 2 day shows. They're at the NEC. We've got to have a stall now. So this, we've eked up a little bit because that's required. You can't tie out at the trailer. So then, what's the jump there? If we're going to be in a couple different classes and have that stall and everything, what are we looking at there?
Usually your stalls are going to range around $50 to $100 a stall. At Mid Rivers, they're $65 a stall. Our classes are about $15 a class. So because I show so many divisions, I'm upwards towards the $500 range for the weekend. You can easily show probably 250 to 350 for the weekend at a Mid River show.
Perfect. So I'm just trying to give everybody,
Uh
our
huh.
audience, just the idea of like, here's kind of base level. And then if we want to step it up a bit, this is what it looks like. And then like if you're going to Indiana, you're going to a show that's maybe one of the 3 or 4 day shows, like a little bit bigger. We're probably eking up a little bit from there. We got travel expenses and that kind of stuff. It's not just a
Right.
tank of gas to get up to the NEC, right?
Right. You're adding gas and hotel. I don't have a horse trailer with living quarters. So you always have hotel and meals added when you're traveling. But yeah, your breed shows are going to be upwards around 1,000 for a weekend, maybe more.
All right, cool. And again, we're trying to paint the picture here because you don't have to start at the
Mhm.
breed show that you're spending $1,000 a weekend. You really need a trainer, etc. You can start at the
Mhm.
local fun shows, discover what you like, have great fun doing it. Right, like you, Mid Rivers just had their awards banquet, right?
Yes, we did.
How fun was that?
Oh my gosh, so much fun. We do the awards presentation and then we have dancing and we have a balloon artist for the kids and so we really pride ourselves on being a very family friendly, family oriented, club that has fun as well as showing. So,
Yeah, I love it. And do the local clubs like this allow for like mom and child to use the same horse, or do we have to have separate horses, or what does that typically look like?
If you are showing in different divisions, which at Mid Rivers you definitely would be, you can definitely show the same horse. We even have brothers and sisters or sisters that share the same horse. So, the younger sister will show it in the walk division, and then the next older sister will show it in beginner, and then the other is in the youth division. So, yes, you can definitely share a horse.
So we don't have to have five horses here. Like
Right.
again, we can bring our audience into showing for nominal amounts.
Yes.
Okay. I love it. All right. So, Mindy, what's 2026 going to bring for you and Louie?
I'm really not sure. Here we are, less than a month away from our first show, and I haven't really set goals this year. Um, I definitely want to go back to the World Show with the National Open Horseshoe Association. I did very well in showmanship last year. I'd really like to seal a title in hunt seat equitation, so that's probably a goal of mine. We've also had a lot of obstacles with Louis in terms of arthritis in his neck, which has made him exclusively a walk trot horse. But we've
Mm.
recently done some different therapies and we are starting to lope. So that's a goal of mine, is to, by the end of the show season, be able to show in a few lope classes and canter this year.
Wow.
So
Oh, this is super exciting. I can't wait to see what happens for you in 2026.
well,
This
thank
is
you.
awesome. So, okay, have you thought of any pros that if somebody's out there trying to watch some videos, like they should, like this is a person or two?
I know I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No worries. Now, let's before I let you go, let's just recap for a second here because I want folks to really hear the local places they can go to start doing some shows. Go and Mid River's first show, which we're going to be at. We're doing a pop up at. So, and thank you for sending the sponsorship info over. We're going to get you in some way. We'll be there because
Okay,
we want to support our
wonderful.
horse community. What's the date on the Mid River show?
It is March 28th and 29th at the National Equestrian Center. And we have 6 shows this year.
Okay, so six local shows. Come
Mhm.
on out to the NEC, even if you haven't been to a show or you just kind of want to see what's going on. Come out,
Mhm.
see Mindy, see me. We'll help. I'll go introduce you to Mindy.
Please.
Um, we'll just check it out. Just stalk the show, see what you
Mhm.
think, ask some questions. We all want more people to show horses, so we want to get you involved. So, Mid River Saddle Club, if they want to look it up on Facebook, or there's a website as well, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Um,
MidRiverSaddleClub.com.
Okay. And you also, some of our local shows also that you talked about, Jefferson County Trail Riders, which we're also going to be at a couple of their shows this year, but we love them. They typically show in DeSoto. Am I
I
right? Or
think
is it
it's
Cedar Hill?
Rubbville. It's kind of down,
Clubville. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
You're right.
down south a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay. And that's a 1 day show. So, again, a
Mhm.
very family friendly place to go to.
Yes.
You also mentioned Southern Illinois Equine.
Southern Illinois Equine Group in DeCoin, Illinois.
Okay,
They
so
have a show
DeCoin's
very similar to Mid Rivers.
okay, so more of a 2 dayer.
Yes, definitely a weekend show.
Okay, and DeCoin isn't that far. What is that? Is
It's
that a
about
couple hours?
2 hours from St. Louis area. It's not far.
Okay.
Hmm.
You also mentioned Gateway.
Hmm. Gateway is in Lincoln County. They have their shows at the Lincoln County Fairgrounds. Again, a
Mhm.
1 day show, very family friendly oriented, and a little bit more of a focus on ranch.
And is it Gateway Saddle Club?
Yes, Gateway Saddle Club.
Okay, awesome. And then you also mentioned Mid Missouri.
Midmo Saddle Club. Yep, they're in New Bloomfield. Again, a 1 day show. You will not
Mhm.
meet friendlier people than there are at Midmo. Really, really fun show there.
Okay, and then Sedalia. So a couple hours away again.
Yeah, Sedalia is a little under 3 hours from St. Louis. They actually have two show circuits. One is the Golden Circuit, Golden Circle show circuit, and then K Singer is the one that we've been showing with K Singer Saddle Club.
Pacing your saddle club. Okay, cool. So um, hopefully we've given our audience just that insider look at what this takes. We've talked about the cost, the horse, the time, some options for you in terms of to just start showing or maybe take it to the next level, or maybe go national, go to the Open Horse Association. Okay. The bottom line is just get in there, like go
Yes, get
see
out
what you
there.
love,
Get out
right?
there. Yep.
Okay, Mindy, we wanted to make sure to ask you, like, for all of our audience out there, like what's your advice to them getting into the show realm?
One thing I would definitely say is always put your horse first. I know it sounds like I show my horse a lot and so on, but I do know what my horse's limitations are, and I have fit him. I've done the fitness level to make sure he can show that many classes and he can show all weekend. But always put your horse first. I will cancel a show if it is not in my horse's best interest. If he's a little off, the farrier accidentally drove a nail, we're not going. So always put your horse first. And the other thing I would say is be coachable. When someone is giving you advice, even if you're like, oh, you listen, please listen and be coachable. You're not going to work your way up through the levels if you are not willing to take criticism. In the horse world, there is no way to know everything. I am, even as many decades as I've been showing, I am still learning new things every day and new ways to do things. And so be open minded and be coachable. So,
Two amazing pieces of advice. I mean, the putting the horse first, not one class, not one show is worth the career of your horse, right?
yeah, exactly.
So do that. And they're athletes. Treat them as you would an athlete. Think of all of our Olympic athletes and the therapies and the preventative maintenance and the post maintenance that they went through, massages, chiropractic, all of these things. I know you're thinking price tag, dollar signs with all those things, but they're an equine athlete and we have to keep
Mhm.
them prepped at the highest level, right? So
Right.
amazing. And even, I mean, after all of these years, you still are looking for and listening to advice.
Oh yeah, I'm taking lessons. I'm trying to make sure that my bad habits don't, take over. Even Olympic riders take lessons and train with someone. So you're never going to know it all. And it's always good to have another professional's eyes watching you.
I mean, football players, basketball players, they all have coaches. And not
Yes.
only do they have the team coach out on the sidelines during the game, but they have workout coaches and nutrition coaches, et cetera, right?
Mhm.
So you
Yes.
gotta stay open to learning new things. Otherwise,
Mhm.
you just go backwards.
Yeah. And you have
Okay.
to be open to critique yourself. At the shows, I usually have somebody video my patterns so that I can go back and watch and be like, oh, I raised my hand here, or, I bought a Pivo so that I could record my rides and watch those rides. So, you know, really,
Game
be
day
open.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
I love
only way
that.
you're going to get better.
Absolutely. You've got, I mean, if you're not open to critiquing yourself, we're not going to go
Mhm.
anywhere, right? And
Yes.
sometimes you don't remember it or feel it or realize what you did unless you can see it in film or you can have somebody
Mhm.
tell you what happened. You're like, I didn't even know I was doing that.
Right.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Okay. Two huge, great pieces of advice that no matter what level we're at, we can heed those warnings or those
Mhm.
advices. I love it. Okay. Mindy, I couldn't be prouder of you. You like again, I've known you. We were talking about it for about 20 years now. Really, to see you and your horse work, any horse that you have, is truly beautiful because you are just an amazing horsewoman. And I know I've been blessed to have moments to be able to watch you ride. So I know there's other accomplished riders out there, and there's so much that we can gain as a horse person by just observing others and paying attention to what they do. And I really appreciate you being just a phenomenal example for us all in this industry.
Thank you. I'm blushing. I
You
love it.
should be.
Horses
You should
horses
be.
have
It's
always been my life. So
awesome. Awesome. You are amazing. Okay. I
thank you.
appreciate you spending time with us today. Golden Horseshoe audience, we really hope that you learned something today. If you've got any questions, let us know. We'll find the
Yes.
answer. If I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I got to go to Mindy or somebody else to find the answer, we'll figure it out. So just reach out to us.